Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. We have an international show today. Tim and I are in the States, of course, in the opposite end of the coast. I'm the left coast, and he's on the right coast. And then, but we have a special guest. We actually are welcoming a brand new sponsor to Love My Tool, a company by the name of SecurActive. And we have today their general manager, general director, a gentleman by the name of Boris Rogier, and who's going to talk to us and talk about the genesis of the company and the technology, the problem they want to solve. We do have a presentation for you, but then we're just going to have some conversation as well. So good evening, Rogier. Boris, how are you?
Yeah, good morning. I'm very well. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to present our company to all your subscribers. That's a great opportunity for us to get a little more awareness outside of Europe.
Okay, perfect. We look forward to that. And good afternoon, Tim. Good seeing you
Hello,
again.
Danny. How are you? And
Yeah, it seemed like we did this yesterday, didn't we not?
I think so. Something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It's fun. We got Boris now. He's over there in that beautiful country of France.
I
And
know. It's hard to concentrate now, thinking that Boris is actually in Paris. I can't concentrate anymore. I mean, I need to get back to that part of the world. So anyway, Boris, what do you have for us today? Give us an idea of your company and how they came about and what it does and the customers that you serve.
Okay.
Take it away.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that in a few steps. Let me use a visual spot to do that. I mean, the company is called SecurActive, but what I'm going to talk about is performance vision, and I think that name tells a lot more about what we are doing and what we've been doing over the last few years. We're a company specialized in network and application performance analysis. I'm going to tell you quite a lot about where we come from and what's the vision that we have about the market. So I'll tell you a bit about our story. I'll tell you a bit about what is our vision of the application performance market, what drives what we do, and shortly I will give you a very brief overview of what our solution actually does for our customers.
one question right up, Boris. Do you have representation in North America yet?
We have a few customers, but we are just starting in the US. We mostly have done business in Europe, Africa, and have some customers in North America, South America, and Asia.
Yeah, but do you have anybody here? If someone from the United States wants to talk to you, do they approach you in France, or do you have someone here that they would call?
No, we don't have any actually direct presence in the US. This is something we plan for next year, and this is basically something that we're building at the moment.
Okay, and this is kind of your first foray into that. You build a presence in North America.
Absolutely.
That's important. Yeah, and we look forward to helping you, by the way. So.
Okay, we're very happy to do that with you.
As long as you can bring me to Paris one time. I'm just kidding.
Okay, that's okay. But you know, we didn't want to do that first interview in Paris because you would have been a little more distracted than you are.
Absolutely, I'd be gone. You wouldn't find me. No. We look forward to it because when I read about SecurActive, when Gilles first reached out to us, I was pretty impressed. A lot of people talk about a single plane of management, single management pane, P-A-N-E, like it's just one picture. But looking at your product, it has some pretty unique views that are, I mean, the whole goal of technology is simplicity. That's the ultimate goal of technology, right? Simplicity. I can do anything easy. And that's, when looking at your product, it shows a lot of the network simply, and it's easy to understand. I went through some of your introduction to Performance Suite and things like that. So that's one thing I would definitely emphasize is the simplicity of and the value of the views that your product gives. So I'll shut up now and let you do your presentation.
Yeah, you're going ahead of my presentation, but I think you've summarized most of what I'm going to talk about, which actually speaks about simplicity, but talks about the many things that we can do with performance vision on a single platform, and the single platform is something that makes it usable and easy to use for our customers. And I think this is something which really matters to end users at the moment.
Absolutely, it does. One thing I've always noticed is network managers never have enough time or enough depth to remember everything.
Well, they've got many tools and they've got a lot of problems, and each tool has to be sufficiently simple to use or easy to use so that they can actually make an efficient use of it.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Right. Here is a bit of where we come from. We've been on the market for 10 years. We started, and this is why we are named SecurActive, with a focus on network and security, which is something we did from 2004 and 2009. And we built a strong expertise in terms of watching network traffic and extracting interesting data out of network traffic. And since 2009, we took another glance at the data we had and tried to extract the most meaningful data to manage performance and understand why performance may be degraded and what we could do to actually improve it. And this is how, after 10 years, we came out with a solution called Performance Vision, okay, which is actually what we market now.
Okay.
Over those 10 years, I think that the thing that makes us a little different is how much effort we've put on R&D. Most of our efforts have gone to our R&D team and to all the code we've developed and all the research we've done. And in the end, the outcome is a very strong know-how in network traffic analysis, in the extraction of performance metrics, and store and present data. And the way we store and present data, as you said, is one of the keys to actually make a product which is easy enough to use for our customers. You may not know us if you're in the US, but we are actually the European Network and Application Performance Management vendor in Europe. We count more than 500 customers. They are spread over 4 continents, and the way we've developed our business is through value-added partners who are usually specialized companies that have a lot of value to our solution by providing the right implementation and the right consulting services to our solution. So that basically we make sure every customer is able to make the right use of the solution. All right. Second thing, we got to hear about us and about the way we run our business. We are very committed to customer satisfaction. I think the main line and one of the things we are the most proud about is how many people actually stay with us and do not switch to another solution. We renew almost 90% of every renewal, and we pay a specific attention to listening to our customers and to the fact that rather than being purely driven by marketing and buzz, we are driven by what our customers expect from us. And this is what drives us, and we make the upgrade then easier to our customers so that they can expand what they do with Performance Vision. So this is one of the 2 things that really matter to how we run our business. And the last part is how much we invest in innovation. We have 50% of our staff in R&D, and the outcome of that is with a lot of attention to quality. We deliver 3 major releases a year, and every customer uses each of the features of those releases because they are well thought. And this is something that customers have actually valued a lot in what we've done. The 2 things that makes us, which are benefits out of that policy are the fact that we are very good at real-time transaction analysis, so really good at working at application level while we capture data at network level. And the other thing that where we are very good is covering the virtual data center, making sure that we cover traffic on the network, on the physical network, but also in a virtualized data center. Okay, these are examples of customers that which we help to solve basic performance degradations day to day. All right. The Unix that we have. In the end, what we try to build is a solution which is really powerful, and the things which are really important and distinctive in our offer are around real-time transaction APM. So being able to capture and store transaction-level information 24/7. And it goes from non-IP flows to layer 3 to layer 7. And there is no specific prerequisite in terms of hardware. We can do that on virtual traffic, we can do that on physical traffic. The scope of what we do from a transaction analysis point of view is also very wide. The integration between network performance data and application performance data is also a very advantage. Most of our competitors actually compiled several products to try to do that. We've done that with one product, and from an ease of use point of view, it makes it much easier. And the same applies with thinking between physical and virtual network capture. It's all based on the same technology, so there is no joint, no integration. It's natively integrated. So here is where we are. That's our story. We have a specific vision of the application performance. I'd like to share that with you as well. The way we see performance or application performance, I think there are 3 layers why this topic really matters. The first thing is we are talking about a business issue. The second point, we are talking about a technical challenge. And this is a challenge because of the lack of visibility. Most end users do not have as much visibility as they would need. But it's also a matter of complexity and how systems went basically adding to each other and adding complexity up to a point where administrators have a very hard time figuring out exactly how everything works into the distribution of an application through a network. Okay, and the last point, which is, I think, as important as the first 2 ones, is that we are talking about a human and organization problem when we speak about application performance. When we speak about application performance, we talk about feedback, end-user feedback, and we talk about subjective feedback. We talk also a lot about internal conflicts and how to avoid them, or how to be more efficient when we deal with application performance optimization. And we talk also about vendor management and how we manage external providers and about performance with them. All right. That feedback is really based on what we know of our customers and what are the challenges that they face. They are equally technical and human or organizational.
Yeah, one of the more common problems we have is visibility, because most people either use a span or monitor access, or for true visibility use a tap. And a lot of people have not been able to grasp that differentiation, especially with real-time protocols and more real-time applications. So yeah, that's a real big technical challenge.
Yeah, how you capture data actually drives what you see, and this is true. This is really one of the key points from a technical point of view to actually achieve a large visibility. I guess the next one is the same question applied to the virtual data center. What troubleshooting is about? I think this is about, APM is about having a big picture and understanding precisely what is the overall status, and going to the details very easily, and understanding who, where, when we see issues, which errors we see, and what are the transactions which are impacted. I think it's very important to think about how we move from one to the other, and I think the quality of an APM solution actually is driven by how easy you make it to move from a big picture to the details, and not only providing a lot of detailed information. This is one of the things that drives out how we've built our user interface and how we've made it possible for our users to shoot performance issues very fast. So what is expected from APM is moving from darkness to visibility. This is the first pillar that we use to actually build our APM solution. The other thing that you would expect is moving from a silo thinking, where basically every management tool is based on one silo and is used by the people of one silo, to something which can provide a good basis for team collaboration. And the last part is moving from subjective feelings or complaints to objective measurements. This is something which is one of the benefits you expect from APM. And the overall outcome, when you are successful with a customer and you actually deploy an APM successfully, you need to move from a state where you found a lot of frustration and a lot of inefficiency in their IT management processes, and moving to a place where you're more productive and you are much more proactive. Okay, so this is what we feel is really important when you zoom out a bit and think about application performance. This is our vision. All right. When we think about that vision, we thought about what should drive the strategy that we have from a product development, and we've tried to apply the same vision to our product. And we've built everything on 6 conditions which we think are key to make an APM product successful. The first thing is that it should show very easily what is the end user experience and how users are getting which performance. Second thing, it should really show all the usage from all the users, so it's real user monitoring. It should show one history, and the history should be very easy to manipulate. It should work end-to-end, which means it should provide information about the whole distribution chain of the application and really show whether we're talking about a network issue, a server issue, a backend server issue. Fifth thing, it should talk about the real-life data center. So talking about the physical network is definitely not enough. We need to move into what difficulties or what complexity virtualization is having, or what complexity cloud usage or cloud applications are bringing into the picture. And the last part, it should be easy to use, and it should have a very low admin cost. All right. So this drove what we've done. And the way we see our solution is something that is bridging different items. It's creating a bridge between an overview, a wide-angle visibility, and the details. It is something that is bridging the view that we have of performance across network and application. And this is a tool which basically builds a bridge between physical networks and virtual and cloud networks. Okay? So here is some items about our solution. Of course, I'm not going to make an exhaustive presentation of what we do, but basically here is the scope that we cover with Performance Vision. We cover network performance, so basically how the network is used, how it's performing, what errors we see at that level. It covers application distribution, so basically the end user experience, how users are feeling about the performance of the different applications, how the application is distributed, answering very simple questions like, when I have a degradation, what is the origin of that degradation, what's the scope of that degradation, which users for what transaction, and it covers really application metrics like transaction level, response times, application errors, and it goes into the back end of the application, so beyond the front end servers, providing an idea of what databases may have as an impact on the end user experience, or the storage, for example, layer. Okay, and all that is built on one platform, one product platform, one R&D team. All that is managed through something which is totally integrated. Okay, How it works? Very simple. We simply capture traffic. So basically, we use either port mirroring or taps or whichever solution which is fine to actually capture traffic. We provide a lot of flexibility in terms of how you can capture traffic with how many ports, and we do that equally on virtual appliances and physical appliances. And that's part of the thing that makes us a little different. It's exactly the same code running on virtual appliances and physical appliances, and you can mix them without any difference. Okay, it's of course fully non-intrusive. Very quickly installed, 15 minutes are enough to install a product, generates no traffic, requires no change in the network, no single point of failure is added, no downtime, no agent. Okay?
Yeah.
So here are three things that really really matter about performance vision. The first thing is how easy it is to drill down, so to go from an overview to the details and back and forth. So that's just an example. This is a very simple dashboard that shows you the performance of your application based on metric that we call end user experience. And even without making a single click, you can already see what's the contribution of the network latency, what's the server processing, and the data volumes. And you can already tell, okay, I've got an end user degradation, but I know it's coming from a server response time issue. And if you simply click on that link, you move down, and you can see the same evolution of the end user response time, but broken down between yellow network, blue server, red quantity of data. See which server are providing which performance and which user groups are getting which performance. And you can very quickly identify that one user group, for example, is impacted by a very bad performance, and understand that the server processing is the driver because it's blue. Clicking here, you can see the same thing and go down up to the level of one user and understand which users do how many transactions and are getting which performance impacted by what. And you would see the same thing. The worst performance are users impacted by slow server transactions. And when you keep moving down, you can go up to what every client is doing on the network and having the same metrics, and going down to the TCP level and then moving up to application transactions. Okay. Second pillar is how we integrate network and application data. This is one of the things that are really important to our customers, is covering with the same tool network and application layer. It's a single platform, so there is absolutely no integration. It's one appliance, virtual, physical, that does that. From our point of view, it's just one platform and one R&D team which manage the two aspects of the product. So it makes going from the network data to the application transaction a one-click issue or a one-click action, and vice versa. How it translates? Very simple. You go from network flow, and in the network flow, when you look at a specific flow, you have something that tells you what we've recognized at layer 7. And if you click on that, you just go to the individual application transactions that were in that network flow. That works for CIFS, name resolutions, web applications, databases, ICMP. And the opposite way around. You start and you look at a specific SMB transaction, for example, made on the file, and you can go down to the layer 3 data and understand what were the network conditions for that application transaction, and understand what was the TCP behavior, what were the retransmissions, etc. Okay, this is something that looks very simple, but actually a lot of our competitors do that with an integration of several products, and the result is something which is definitely not as easy as this. All right. Third thing where we are doing, I think, a good job are real-time transaction analysis. What we mean by real-time transaction analysis, we mean that we capture data 24/7, but we don't capture packet data. We really capture application transaction data, and we store it right away. So in real time, with no post-treatment, without taking an extract or a packet capture and loading it into an external module, you directly see all the transactions. And when we say all the transactions, we do not mean a top report of all the transactions. We mean that you can go down to every single individual transaction that was actually seen on the network. And you can go down to the very, very deepest level in the request and in the response. So we retain 100 queries and a lot of information about the response, and sometimes for certain applications we even keep the response itself. And what this allows is that you can do, let's say you're doing a troubleshooting, you can filter on whichever parameter which is contained in the request or the response. So you can say, all right, I'd like anything that contains cardinality and not pages, for example. And you will see, for example, all the SQL queries that match this criteria. And last part, it's fully agentless. So, for example, this is an example of what we do agentless that a lot of our competitors or colleagues do not do fully agentless. This is a page that we've captured on the network, which is a web page, and you see all the elements that were contained in that page. And for each element, you can see the overall time broken down between the transfer of the request, the processing in gray, and in green, the transfer of the response. And you can see the page load time and how the page was loaded for that user. Most of our competitors either ask you to insert some code in your web application to do that, or have an agent. Well, we don't need that. Okay, and the last thing which we're proud of is how we integrated physical traffic capture and virtual traffic capture and cloud traffic capture. The way we've done that, we've got exactly the same platform from a software point of view running on physical and virtual solution. And we natively support a mix of physical appliances and virtual appliances. And basically, the customer can decide whether he uses it, depending on what traffic he wants to capture, if he wants to capture, for example, virtual traffic, or depending on how he wants to deploy those probes. Let's say it may be easier at some point, for example, to deploy remotely a virtual probe in China than it would be to deploy a physical appliance, which would require logistic and time. But it's also very useful to make sure you capture the traffic in the upper tiers of an application chain, for example, when the traffic doesn't actually reach the physical network. Okay, so in the end, the architecture is always you can have a central data warehouse, which can be a physical appliance, but also a virtual appliance. And the capture element, which we call poller, can be equally physical or virtual or a mix of both. And that way you can actually build a single, totally unified solution that captures both physical traffic, virtual traffic, traffic in a place where you've got a business, and traffic in places where you do not have easily physical access, for example, cloud. Okay, what's the value that virtual appliances actually bring on top of that? Well, the fact that the virtual traffic that we do is based on tools which are native in the virtualization chassis, like VDS or VMware. We don't need any add-on. We don't need to insert anything but the VDS configuration to capture traffic, and a poller, which is really lightweight virtual machine, which is not going to have any impact on how your ESX is running. So there will be no impact on what's the load on the network interfaces of the ESX, and there will be no significant load from a RAM and CPU. And all that data is very discreetly sent back to a central collector. That central collector can be either physical or virtual, but if it's virtual, it brings a certain number of options which are also interesting, like resilience, like data backup and safety, which are not always easy to implement when you have a physical appliance. All right. Nowadays, we sell 80% of the units we sell are virtual. So we really think this is the way forward, and that the physical appliances are something from the past. And the last thing which really matter is how easy the product is to use. It's a matter of a few clicks, and it's a matter of a few hours to know how to use it. It's a single platform. There's no integration. There is one license. There is no kit list. Everything is activated into it. So you just have it's just there into a single appliance, and you've got to go and use it. Right? There is no administration time. Most of our customers just drop a file through FTP to update it every 4 months, and that's all they do from an administration point of view. It's a matter of 5 minutes every quarter or every half year. And the licensing is as simple as it fits into a single slide, which also is appreciated. So this is us in nearly 30 minutes. I think we've matched the time. I'm happy to get your questions.
Sorry about that. I had to get my microphone turned on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's an awesome technology. Tony left. I was hoping Tony would stay in.
Yeah, he had to take a call. Yeah, he joined towards the end, and I had to take a call.
I think the product looks really nice.
Very polished.
Yeah. The only thing I always tell people is if you want to see your network in reality, buy a tap. Otherwise, you're going to get a distorted view, especially with the real-time protocols. I'm an advocate for seeing everything, seeing it in the right time, and that certainly plays into what you're doing. It gives people a real-time view real quickly.
Yeah, I mean that's right. I mean, if you want to get microsecond precision, then you need to be. I mean, a tool like ours cannot be more accurate than what provides the data.
That's right.
Yeah. So Boris, this is an excellent overview of the product, and I think you said it more than once that it's just too much. There's just lots of material that need to be presented, and we couldn't quite do it in one show. So we have talked about you or your colleague coming back next week. Could you give us an idea what you would do next week? What you would present next week?
I think
and then I think what we do then is we'll sign off and just to keep the show short.
Well, the best I think we could do next week is just show the product, because that's what we show normally to customers. Is more of a concrete demo based on their requirements than actually slideware. So the best would be providing you with demo. If we can arrange it, we'd like to have someone who's using the product who's not part of our company but working with us to actually provide a short testimonial. But I don't know yet whether we are going to be able to organize it. Okay,
sounds good. So with that, if it's okay, I'll go ahead and sign off. It's a little bit over 40 minutes, so this is a good time. And so I just want to invite all of you to come back next week, where we're doing part 2 of this presentation, which is mainly a live demo of the product name Performance Vision, bringing a new vision to the application performance management arena by a company, a very interesting, exciting company called SecurActive, which has been in business for over 10 years, but just recently joined L'Operateur as a sponsor. With that, I'm going to sign off. Thanks again, Boris.
Thanks, Tony.
See you next week. See you next week. And thanks, Tim.
My pleasure. It's great to hear SecurActive.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you next week.